Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here and investing your time in improving your English and yourself. There are some memories in life that are not loud or bright like fireworks, but they stay in our minds in a very special way. They are days that seem normal at the time, but when we look back, they become a turning point that changes us. For that boy, the day his parents took him to a water park for the first time was exactly like that. It was a day that started with innocent excitement and ended with fear, a moment that he later understood was when he first learned how to face the world. That morning started earlier than usual. Before the sunlight could come through the window, he was already awake because of a feeling of excitement in his chest. He did not need his mother to wake him up, and he did not need an alarm clock. Just thinking about going to the water park made all his sleepiness disappear. He quickly got out of bed and ran to the living room, where his parents were preparing everything. His small backpack was already packed neatly by his mother, with a towel, extra clothes, and some snacks. His father was checking the tickets and the keys. Everything was normal, but for him it felt very special, and every small detail seemed more alive than usual. On the way there, he sat behind his father, holding him tightly, and kept looking around. Everything seemed to move faster than normal. The trees passed by, the buildings changed, and then the big gate of the water park appeared in front of him. He could not sit still anymore. His heart beat faster, and his eyes were full of excitement, like he was looking at a whole new world. Inside the park, the sound of water, laughter, and children shouting happily mixed together and created a place full of energy. The tall water slides, the clear blue pools, and the colorful floats made him feel amazed. Everything was bigger than he had imagined. His parents held his hand and showed him different areas and games. He laughed a lot, so much that his cheeks hurt, but he still did not want to stop. At first, he always stayed close to his parents. Every time he stepped into the water, he looked at his mother to make sure everything was okay. She smiled and nodded, and he felt safe again. He tried small slides and shallow pools, slowly exploring the place like a little explorer. Time passed faster than he expected. When he became more familiar with the place, he started to feel more confident. He did not hold his parents' hands as tightly as before. Sometimes he ran a few steps ahead and turned back to smile. Sometimes he got interested in new games and forgot to stay close to them. And from these small moments, the distance between him and his parents slowly became bigger without anyone noticing. One time, when he was standing near a strong water area, he saw a group of kids playing together. They were laughing, calling each other, and taking turns sliding down. Without thinking, he was drawn to them. He walked closer, joined the group, and forgot to look back at his parents. At that moment, he only cared about having fun. But after a few minutes, when he turned around as usual, his parents were no longer there. At first, he did not think too much. Maybe they were just behind him or somewhere nearby. He took a few steps and looked around, trying to find familiar faces in the crowd. But the more he looked, the more he realized something was wrong. Everyone looked like strangers. There was no sign of his father or his mother. The first feeling was not fear, but confusion. He stood still for a moment, waiting for them to appear, but nothing happened. The noise around him was still loud and happy, but in his ears, everything felt far away. His heart slowed down for a second, then suddenly started beating faster. He began to walk back the way he thought he came from, but the water park was not like the street near his home. Everything looked the same in a scary way. Pools, slides, long lines of people. He did not know where he had turned or where he had stood before. Every step felt like a guess. Then fear slowly came, not suddenly, but quietly, like cold water. He softly called Mom and Dad, but his voice disappeared in the noise. No one turned around. No one noticed that he was lost. He walked faster, then even faster. His eyes kept moving, trying to find something familiar. Faces passed by, but no one stopped. Some people were laughing, some people were talking, some people were playing, but no one knew that there was a boy who was starting to lose control. Tears started to appear, but he tried to hold them back. In his young mind, crying wouldn't help him find his parents. He needed to keep looking, to keep moving, to do something. But the more he tried, the more he felt lost and did not know what to do. There was a moment when he stopped in the middle of a crowded path. Everything around him seemed to slow down. The sounds became unclear, and for the first time, he truly felt what it meant to be alone in a place full of people. He started to think about bad things. What if he could not find his parents? What if he had to stay there alone? What if no one would help him? These questions kept coming, making him more afraid. Finally, he could not hold it anymore. Tears fell down. He cried, not caring who saw him. It was not just crying because of fear, but also a way to call for help. A staff member nearby noticed him and came closer to ask what happened. At first, he could not answer. Simple questions like his name, who he came with, or where he was before became difficult. He could only say that he was lost. The staff member took him to a safe place where they could make an announcement. They gave him some water and spoke to him gently. Slowly, he became a little calmer. He tried to remember his parents' names and describe what he could. Every small detail became important. While waiting, time felt very slow. Each minute felt like a long time. He sat there, looking at the entrance, hoping that every person he saw would be his parents. And then, finally, he saw them. His father ran towards him, and his mother followed. Their faces were no longer calm like in the morning. They looked worried and scared, but when they saw him, everything changed into relief. His mother hugged him tightly, so tight that he could feel her fast heartbeat. His father put his hand on his shoulder, saying nothing, but his eyes showed everything. He hugged them back and cried again, but this time it was not because of fear, but because he felt safe again. After that, everything slowly returned to normal. They left the park earlier than planned. On the way home, he was quieter than usual, not because he was tired, but because he was thinking about many things. That day did not end the way it started, but because of that, it became a memory he would never forget. Many years later, when he grew older, he finally understood the meaning of that experience. It was not only about getting lost in a water park, but also the first time he faced the feeling of being lost in life. It was the first time he realized that the world is bigger than he thought, and his parents wouldn't always be there to guide him. At the same time, it was also the first time he learned that even if you get lost, you can always find your way back. Panic does not help, but staying calm and believing can. And most importantly, the feeling of being found, being hugged again, and coming back safely always makes a person stronger after getting lost. That memory did not fade over time. It no longer made him afraid, but became a part of his journey of growing up. A simple day at a water park, which seemed like just a fun trip, became his first lesson about independence, fear, and how to find himself in a big world. If you find this video interesting and helpful, please give me a like and subscribe.